gotta turn this way.
This was not planned.
I know. We're matching today, so. So we're a little late, and it's been a while adulting. It's been busy, and there's a bunch of holidays, and I'm finally getting to go on some trips with my wife. So that's why I've been away. So, but you need a break every once in a while. And here's Cody, as usual. Not rocking a Star Wars shirt this time.
No
Star Wars.
There's been a couple lately that I haven't been wearing like a theme shirt. So
yeah. So we're going to just be talking about the Marvel Eternals trailer. As well as the Bad Batch. It's going to be a short episode, but we'll just be going over the Bad Batch, I guess, summary of the previous episodes 1 through 4, as well as predictions for 5. So Cody's going to kick it off with the Eternals trailer.
Yeah, actually, real quick run through of products from Marvel Legends and Hot Toys. So last time we spoke actually was the finale of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. So since then they've released the Captain America now Hot Toy, which is great, and they also have released the Marvel Legends Disney Plus series set, which has actually come out and been hitting stores. I'm proud to say I actually got all of them like way before they even put them out on the shelf. So I got that. That was cool. Obviously, like not really big on Legends as much as I used to be, but this one was a must. And so we got that. We also got, what were the other ones? There's been some other Marvel Legend reviews for the or reveals for basically like the Infinity Saga. So they're doing like a Fat Thor. They're doing a 2-pack of. It looks really good too.
There's like a Fat Thor Lego, just like an extra like piece that you throw on over his stomach. That would
make it like give him a little pouch.
Yeah,
that's like me, except I don't have to throw anything over it. I just have it. Although I've been working it off slowly but surely. So there's that. There's a 2-pack of Tony Stark and Thanos battle damage version, which is great. Probably will be getting my hands on those because they just look so badass. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. As far as Star Wars goes, there's been some new pops that have come out.
Oh, there's a helmetless Din Djarin too. They got leaked or released, or so there is that. He's like holding Grogu, like It's like the scene when he hands him over to Luke Skywalker. Only there's no Luke pop that I saw. It just him without the helmet.
Right. Yep. So there's that. And then as far as product releases, guys, I think that's pretty much all I can remember right now. We're kind of like flying by the seat of our pants here. So that's it. And as far as news goes, the Eternals is actually, yes, the Eternals is, they finally dropped the first look at it. They did have that Marvel 10 Years trailer, which was really cool, the first 10 years and sort of like looking to the future. That was really cool. And then as far as Eternals goes, there's really not too much to cover. There's the Eternals, they're one of those like groups of heroes that not even the hardest, like the most diehard fans like myself know about. But there are a few rumors just based on like how the comics go and sort of the character setup and why they decided to implement them in this timeline, is that the Eternals, Thanos was an Eternal, and Thana or something, or Thanos, I forgot her name, but Angelina Jolie's character in this movie basically is in the comics is the cousin of Thanos, and we think there's going to be a connection between the Eternals coming to Earth for the first time and intervening in human affairs for the first time, and Thanos wiping out half of existence. So my thing is, it looks like, at least from what I'm seeing, this is going to take place in the like present day of the snap. Like, so half of life has disappeared. The Eternals are coming in maybe to help out, and then post Avengers Endgame as well after everybody comes back. So
I did see a lot of criticism already just in response to the trailer in the comments. They're slapping the same thing that you did with Martian Manhunter, who's like a super
like where have you
equivalent.
been
Like
this whole time?
you're super powerful, so where the heck what were you doing
Totally.
like when there was a major threat that was gonna like destroy Earth, destroy humanity?
Did I
whatever?
send you that meme today, the one with Tony Stark, and it was the quote from the Eternals teaser trailer.
I didn't think I wasn't on my phone.
It was
so.
Ajax saying like, all this time we've remained distant until now, or we haven't intervened until now, and then it's a second picture of Tony Stark from heaven going.
Oh wait, you did send me that, yeah.
So, they're gonna have to figure out a clever way to work all this in, because it's just kind of hard to believe that these like super beings, these gods, you could say, little g, being amongst civilization. And
it's the same thing with
human.
Captain Marvel, though. Like, she just shows up in Endgame, and it's like, where were you in Infinity War? And she's like, other worlds need saving, and it's like, yeah, but this one was about to destroy all of the worlds.
Yeah, Thanos was, at least from what we know so far, Thanos was like the strongest being still out there. So it doesn't make sense.
Or at least the strongest being with malicious intent.
Yeah, I can even say that as a diehard Marvel fan, that it's a bit far-fetched for me. But I mean, if they can find a way to cleverly work it into the storyline, I think we'll get the content. So
I think it's more forgiving, personally. I think Martian Manhunter and Captain Marvel easier to come with an excuse for, because they're one person, alien, I guess, whatever. In the case of Martian Manhunter, so they could have been like busy with stuff. You could argue that, but like you can't tell me the entire Eternals team happen to be busy with something else. Like that is, I want to see how they handle.
It's a bit far-fetched, so it'll be interesting. But I think I'll put money on Marvel to figure it out. But aside from that, guys, I mean, it's pretty much just a waiting game at this point to watch the movie. Obviously, we have that. We have Black Widow, Loki. We're getting ready for Loki, which I've heard is going to be a huge show. Probably the most important and most crucial as far as the MCU timeline moving forward, because we know this is mostly about time travel in itself. So I'm really excited for that. That I believe begins June 9th. So we have that. Black Widow July. Shang-Chi. I think last time we spoke, the Shang-Chi trailer hadn't dropped, but now it has, and it looks good.
Didn't you hear that? Rumor, Shang-Chi and Eternals might not be approved to be seen in China, so they may be taking a hit in the box office there, which,
Communist Party of China.
Well, just stop, they're gonna come after you.
Yeah, right.
But just to be, neutral about this, I always root for the success of like franchises and movies and stuff. So not to bring the doom and gloom, but that does spell bad news for any possible sequels, because China is the one that carries. It's the United States and China, and they're pretty much the ones that usually carry the movies on their back. So if you're missing, 50%, I don't know what it is exactly, but 50% of the market share, it might not. They're probably not going to crack $1 billion. I hate to, unless suddenly they show it, but I wouldn't expect it to crack $1 billion. I mean, now there's inflation. So
is there any reason for that? Like, did they specify why they're doing this? I mean, I don't understand what I have heard it has something to do with the government getting involved with communism. And I mean, I'm okay getting political with this because I think every American, whether you're a Republican or Democrat, should be against communism. So
we hear a lot of rumors, so that's why I don't want to say anything. We hear a lot of rumors on the outside, but we don't know anything for certain. Some of the rumors, again, these are rumors, these might not necessarily be true, but some of the rumors for why things haven't been shown is because of either racial stereotyping and racial representation, or sexual representation and orientation in the movies. I don't know that for a fact. I just heard supposedly those two things might be the reason that it's not going to be in China. I mean, we already saw.
Because they're not showing it, or because they are? Like,
there's things in the movies that offend them, and they're not going to put that in. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, I'd like to think that they are going to still show it for the purpose of the success of the movie.
So why wouldn't you want to show Shang-Chi? That's like, that's glorifying their culture.
It's the same reason they got offended over China got offended over.
I mean, he's an Asian superhero who I think a lot of people, including myself, are gonna love. You know, I don't understand. It makes no sense to me. But I mean, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't necessarily know if those are the reasons or the reasons that were rumored, but it doesn't bode well for sequels. That being said, that doesn't mean if they have like another Avengers movie or
That's how they're gonna do it.
and they show up, then they'll probably be more lenient on letting them in. But
they're gonna have cameos in other other superhero movies. They said that moving forward, Marvel in Phase 4 and 5 and so on will be doing more like one-off movies, and then that character just shows up again. More like the comics, how they cross over sometimes and all that.
Yeah, so we saw that with Finn, unfortunately. Like, they completely strip him out of the marketing in China, and they still showed the movie, but that doesn't bode well for this. And like, having seen that, I think adds a little bit of legitimacy to the rumor that there's some content in there regarding, like I said, supposedly it's racial or sexual, stereotypes, profiling, orientations that unfortunately they have an issue showing. So that's what I heard. But hopefully for the purpose of those stars and I guess their jobs, they do well and they can show up again.
Well,
so
China also gave us the coronavirus, so they're just deciding to piss us all off.
I guess, but
it doesn't matter who it is. So I'm excited. I know regardless of whatever China decides to do or isn't doing, I'm going to be watching them with a lot of excitement.
I just don't want them. I mean, we probably won't know the difference unless we get an issue, something like where you have Justice League and then you have the actual untampered with Snyder Cut that are two vastly different. I just don't want Disney to bend to the money and say, we really need China, and then they alter the movie.
It's a good point. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, and then they alter the movie.
They're going to destroy the quality.
Yeah, so that's my only concern. But hopefully it goes well, because all I mean, hey, as unlikely as the Snyder Cut was, 4 years later it shows up. I mean, if they alter the movie, who knows? Give it 4 or 5
Although
years.
I don't know if let's just say I don't think Shang-Chi or the Eternals will be on the same level or magnitude of popularity.
Probably
even if they did do like
be as bad.
Even if they did do a fan or like a director's cut, I don't think people would have nearly the anticipation. But moving on from that, Eternals will be. I think it might. They're just trying to keep a lot of the details or hints out, but I think it will be a good movie. I'm looking forward to it regardless, and so we'll have to wait and see. But as far as other news, Avengers Campus will be opening next week
with an $100 sandwich. Yeah. Did you see that?
No, wait, that's for real?
Yeah, there's a $100 sandwich, I think, supposedly.
Oh my god!
Like, it serves multiple people, so
okay. Well,
I still can't justify it. I don't care what it is.
Depends on what if you're talking about like 5 people, that's one thing. But like if you're talking 2 or 3 people,
for a sandwich, that would still be $20 for a sandwich.
It better be really freaking good.
Guy Fieri or Gordon Ramsay himself must come over and build the burger, because
it's pretty crazy. I could get lobster tails. I could make a whole thing of lobster tails for that.
Exactly. So there's that. One bit of Snyder Cut stuff. So it was actually at the top of the watch board, like the ratings and viewer count in the UK for like 2 months. It was the #1 watched movie, and then it hasn't dropped on DVD in the US yet, but it's sold out in the UK and I think India and Asia. Like, it's sold out and you can't buy it. So they're waiting for the next wave. So we'll go ahead and see what happens, especially because Warner Brothers just like merged with Discovery Channel, which don't even get me started, but I heard a rumor that Discovery Channel is trying to sell them off and sell off DC.
They're basically flipping them.
They're basically flipping them, and there's a lot of rumblings
that it's
going to be Netflix, because especially today I heard, because Disney has Marvel.
Imagine if Disney does buy Justice League.
They can't. That would be a monopoly issue. Yeah, that wouldn't happen. Plus, I wouldn't trust them to do. They'd have too much intellectual property and be worried they destroy the characters from having.
And they'd want to cross over both the Avengers and DC at that point, which would.
I don't.
They need to stay separate universes.
They do, yeah.
I don't see a world that works.
That would be weird, to be honest. But then Amazon just acquired MGM Studios with James Bond and Stargate and all of that. So they just made a big acquisition. So who does that leave at play? Because this is when it was announced that supposedly they were looking to sell off. Netflix is the one left. And recently we had Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead release on Netflix, and it got good reviews. It did well on Rotten Tomatoes. Netflix also released it to the theater in a limited run and had some views there. But a lot of people have been watching that movie. And Netflix, if you go on their Twitter, have been promoting Zack Snyder and saying, like, don't worry, this is the Snyder cut and stuff
and
like
they
that.
currently have some DC properties already, like Green Arrow, the show, and then The Flash. So it would make sense. And I think you got to love the free market, guys. This is what
I would trust them, though.
Oh, I would too. I would in a heartbeat. I mean, I think you look at Amazon, they just purchased MGM, so they have all those properties, so they can add that to their streaming service. This was all started by Disney because of all the properties they own and the popularity. And so now
Star Wars, Marvel.
Netflix has to make a move if they want to stay relevant in the next 5 years. They're going to get beaten to the punch. Now Paramount has their own streaming service. HBO Max will still stay relevant to a certain degree.
Unless HBO Max and if Netflix acquires DC and HBO Max, then and they combine their platform, then that's going to be.
It's also going to get more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
But
they spent millions on Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, millions, and then they had to CGI. I don't know if you knew this. So they filmed it, and then one of the actors after filming was found out to be not such a nice guy. I'm not going to go into that, but he's found out to be a really kind of a jerk and not a good human. So they went back and and he was the main character. They removed him using CGI from each of the scenes. Then they green screened another actor for every scene and had to digitally insert him into every scene.
Oh, wow.
So this cost millions. And so the fact that they invested millions into it, and then they announced a spin-off animated series that ties into Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. So based on that and the success of that and how much they're promoting him on Twitter, I would say if Discovery was going to sell DC based on the relationship with Zack Snyder, my bet would be on Netflix.
Yeah, that's where I'd put my money now too. And I don't think it takes a genius to see that, but I think it would just make sense at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, I think they would do a good job. And also, those McFarlane figures, the Snyder Cut, will probably be hitting stores next couple weeks. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. People are scalping the DVDs, so I don't know if they still are, but I know they tried. So if you want those, you better go and find them in case they start doing that again.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, Bad Batch.
Yeah.
So he hasn't seen the last episode.
I'm losing it, guys. I gave it real hype after the first episode. Since then, I just really lost my attention. I'm actually more interested in watching Camp Cretaceous on Netflix with Jurassic Park than I am Bad Batch.
So I'm just gonna give him a quick rundown, literally, 1 minute here. Last episode served zero relevance, really. I don't even remember exactly. I watched the day came out. It was like they land on a planet, they get repairs. The repair dude who was like the alien. I think he was the same alien as Nine Nub, actually, the same kind. He was sketchy. He calls a bounty hunter and says, "Is this the girl you're looking for?" referring to Omega. And basically, it was just an excuse. It was a filler episode, but it was an excuse for young Fennec Shand to come and try and kidnap Omega. She almost got away with Omega, but then the Bad Batch stopped her, and they took Omega and then went on their merry way. So really, it was a filler episode. They landed on a planet, got repaired, and then took off. But the episode, unless Fennec shows up again, which they made it seem like she will, but unless she plays a larger part, they were setting something up. Other than that, really was a filler. All you need to know is they landed on a planet. Fennec was there. They got away from Fennec. They got back on the planet or got back on the ship and then flew away. So
now I will say this: it has gotten very dark at times, especially with Crosshairs. Like
shooting the people.
Yeah, like he murders the entire village. Like whether he's under a spell or not. Like this is just, it's definitely like they're not afraid. Let me be very clear. This version of Disney Star Wars, since Clone Wars, I'd argue, is not afraid to get dark,
which I appreciate.
Yeah, I do too. I think it adds more depth to the story overall. But
because we grew up with the original Clone Wars. Well, not the original. Well, we also had the original Clone Wars cartoon that's like 2D one when we were like little, but the 3D-ish animation one was kind of like our generation. So if they're gonna keep us in it, they
kind of have to.
Yeah, they do a nice job of having some mature enough themes to keep us engaged, but then also bring in the younger generation.
And episode 9 did a good job with that too. I thought getting a little bit darker. They weren't afraid to show death and kind of like destruction, and they weren't afraid to show violence, which that you can see that theme with Disney overall now. Now that ever since they acquired 20th Century Fox, it's, if you notice the tone in a lot of their movies with Star Wars, Marvel, a lot deeper and darker, which we can, like you said, we can appreciate that. That adds a little bit more depth to the story overall.
Who was originally supposed to direct one of the Star Wars movies, right? I just found this out today in an interview with Zack Snyder. Was supposed to be.
And then he got tossed to the side because Warner Brothers doesn't know what the hell they're doing.
Ryan Johnson.
Like that one.
You got Ryan
that
Johnson.
That meme that he's like random
bullshit
go.
Random bullshit go. And he's like throwing. I've seen that so much, dude. It's just like.
So true.
Yeah. So I'm honestly, there's been some DC news the past few days that I'm like random Green Lantern series. Oh, supposedly there's a Batgirl movie or something. Like there's a bunch of stuff no one asked for, and it's like, why are you giving us a Batgirl movie when we haven't even gotten Ben Affleck's Batman movie? And now so we're supposed to have the Flash movie next year, which is going to have both Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck as Batman, and then we're also getting the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. Why do we have 3 people playing live action Batman in the span of a few months? Is nonsense.
The best thing that could ever happen to DC is that Netflix picks them up and gives them the Snyderverse.
Yeah,
or does their own thing even. Like I think what Warner Brothers is destroying it's just destroying DC, and they're being so ignorant right now. They know what will work. They just are choosing not to because they want it. It's more of, for them, it's at this point it's become more of a morality thing, or like we stick to our guns and we don't budge, even though they know they should. It's like when somebody throws stats in your face saying that this doesn't work, they're like, well, they're going to turn the other way and say it does. And, I don't know.
Maybe they'll keep them. That was something someone said, is maybe they'll split it off and the Snyderverse will be a separate. I mean, for me, that would be canon, because I can't deal with like a bunch of random hodgepodge movies that are like supposedly connected, but then like have no. They have no plan. The only one that had a plan was Zack Snyder, but again, he's different than what's his name, Kevin Feige, because Zack Snyder was also the director and one of the script writers. So like he would have had to ascend to a role like Kevin to even have that cohesiveness. Otherwise, you just have all these other directors going off and doing their own thing. I mean, it's good to give them creative license, but there needs to be some continuity if they are going to be connected. Otherwise, I wouldn't have an issue if they were all standalone DC movies, not related, but they're all like half related, which is like what is not right.
Exactly. I think, but back to the Bad Batch, like, I think my personal opinion overall is that it's a bit overrated. I hyped it up after the first episode because I thought that it was a great way to start the season off. But overall, I've just kind of been let down again afterward. So I mean, I gotta be honest, it's a little bit of a bummer, and it's it kind of giving me the same vibes that Last Jedi did. Is like you see all these awesome promos and all these awesome shows, but it's just kind of like, are they starting to run out of ideas to tie everything into the story when you're going between timelines? And this goes back to, like, I think they should focus a lot on post-Empire, pre-Rise of the First Order type of timeline, like they are with Mando, because that's how we got good content. There's a lot of stuff that still needs to be told. Same with the Knights of the Republic, right? Like, or something prequels. So
I do think I did read a few dark predictions. I agree. Like, the Bad Batch has been okay. It's entertaining, but again,
it's had its moments for sure.
What I hate. This is my opinion. But some of the same issues I have with some superhero movies with Marvel and DC is they're forgettable. Bad Batch so far has been forgettable. Like,
other than the first episode,
they're entertaining. It's not saying that they're not entertaining. When you go see a superhero movie, most of them are entertaining, but it's the rewatchability, and the rewatchability for me right now is not.
It's not there.
What I think could be interesting though, I do think we're going to see Darth Vader. I think that's going to happen.
Possible.
I think we're going to see him how we did at the end of season 7 of the Clone Wars, because I think the Anakin voice actor also teased that he was going to be back or something. But point is I think that we'll see Anakin and Darth Vader in some capacity. I did read a dark prediction. Now, this is one thing from the episode that could blow up into something. They did like a crash landing on the planet, and Wrecker, they were all like getting tossed around the cabin, and Wrecker said his head hurt.
Who's annoying as F.
Oh, I think he's funny, but Wrecker said that his head hurt, and so upon first watch, a lot of people assumed it was from getting hit. And so one prediction said maybe, since obviously they don't exist in A New Hope and Rogue One and Rebels, maybe the ending of the series is during the duration of the series they all succumb to the
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
they also come and it has a dark ending, and that's how it ends.
Could be.
So I don't think Disney's going to do, because Disney, my main criticism and a lot of their action sci-fi stuff is that they don't have the guts to go the dark route.
They have now, though,
and I've seen the trend a little bit. So major props to them if they go that route or something like that. I mean, we already saw that when Crosshairs just shot up a bunch of civilians. I will say we'll be disappointed if it almost doesn't go that way, because then it seems like they're going to fix Crosshairs or something like that. And I wouldn't want them to spend the majority of the series on them trying to just remove a chip from Crosshair's brain. Like that would be embarrassing. Like, if you didn't watch anything, you're like a Christian summarize the Bad Batch series and say they try and rip the chip out of Crosshair's brain, you're going to be like, why did I waste my time watching?
I do think at the end of it, though, there's going to be a bit of a redemptive message, maybe for him, for example. And I do think it will end dark. I just don't know if it's going to be in the form of them turning bad and succumbing to the Empire, or maybe they just sacrifice themselves like in Rogue One, and they just pass. Because they kind of have to explain why they're not in the bigger story anyway. You can only use so many animated characters to then show up in live action later on, to where it's just kind of beating the same drum. It's like, okay, where were they all this time? So,
yeah.
I think that pretty much covers it for tonight. So, let's see, we're at 28 minutes. Look at that.
Yeah,
we kept it right around what we wanted to. So,
yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna, again, we're gonna try our best to give you guys more content. Hopefully by next week or the following, we'll have more of a set agenda and we can spend some more time with you guys. But just happy we were able to do this tonight for just a little bit. It's been a while, so to whoever sees this afterward, we will be doing our best to try to be more consistent and provide at least longer episodes. So stay tuned. We'll have a lot more to come.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, guys.